Good morning. Well, from the title, you already know what this video is about. We've had in the last 7 to 10 days a fantastic example of what happens when there is a massive imbalance between ego and awareness. And it's good for us to see. I've always thought that Trump getting elected was... I didn't vote for him, but it's perfect in many ways because it's an opportunity for us to see. Like in a grand spectacle of this exact thing, because so many of us were out of balance, ego and awareness. Because when you're rooted in awareness and connected within yourself to the greater part of yourself, you stop caring what other people think. You're not easily offended. You start to work through your triggers, and this could be a process. It takes years, but you start to see them and work through them. You become aware of them, and you're not so reactionary. And if you think about our society in the run-up to the election, in the last really decade, we've become more and more of easily offended by everything. Political correctness brought a lot of good things with it, okay? But like everything else, the pendulum was way too far. There wasn't enough sensitivity, okay? And the idea of political correctness started to bring it to the center, and then it just kept going to where everything was offensive to someone, and they wanted it gone because something outside of themselves bothered them. It was wrong. It was judged, and you need to change your behavior or your speech or your sign or your logo or your emblem or your flag because it offends me. And all that insecurity and all that fear-based stuff all stems from the ego, from the survivalist mind, not from your inner awareness, which only wants love and sees things and wants change out of love, ways that other people can be more empowered. Certainly it would act for change, to maybe even change some of those things, but not from I'm a victim. You've ruined my world by doing this. You've bothered me, and so change it. And so what we elected a president who you could see in the primaries and in the debates, it was right there on display. The insecurity and the personality was right there. And yet, many people, understandably, were so ready for change that, he got elected. Barely, he got elected. So now we have what has happened in the last week, and the media is freaking out and projecting that onto us and wants us to freak out and be bothered, to be offended, be embarrassed. It's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing what he did. It's only embarrassing to your ego. If you take a couple deep breaths, right now, if you take a couple deep breaths, in fact, try it. Take a couple deep breaths and exhale completely. And then you don't even have to close your eyes. Put your awareness on your hands and feel the energy in your hands, that your hands are alive. It might take a minute. Look at them. Stare at them or close your eyes and feel your hands without moving them, without touching anything. Don't touch anything. Feel what's in your hands. There you go. If you didn't, just practice a little more. It'll come quickly. Hands are easy. Now, if you get your awareness back on your hands, from that stillness, does it matter? Are you still embarrassed that Europe thinks that the president is a tool? Now that you're thinking again and listening, maybe it's kind of come back. But if you were to practice awareness, it would take that away. And he blamed the wrong. He didn't put blame where it belonged. That's another big thing of the ego. He didn't blame the right people. And you know what? It does appear, it does seem relatively obvious that there was some outside interference through Facebook and whatever in our election. Probably by Russia. But do we have... But that's the past. That's not this now moment, and it happened. It happened, and it's especially probably bothersome if you were, like, say, a staunch Hillary supporter. It's especially bothersome, perhaps. But that's the past. It's not your now. This is a great opportunity for all of us to look at the balance between awareness and ego. And there are some spiritual, New Age type teachings, books that will completely stomp on the ego and say you have to completely destroy it and there's no place for it. I would very much disagree with that. I think you need some. Not a lot, and not 50-50 even, but you need some. I can tell you that if you completely spend a lot of time getting rid of the awareness, you'll end up in a place where you're super peaceful, you're kind of blissed out, but nothing really matters, and you'll really struggle for forward momentum. Perhaps I did, and it's hard to create new things and go forward in a powerful way and be in the flow of maybe a greater expression of your life if you completely deny your ego, which is a part of you, which is a part of who you are. But most of us, it's the other way. Our fear and our insecurity and our victim mentality and how bothered we get by our external world is all a function of the ego. And if we really grew our awareness, so much of that would change, and our society would change. And what we're passing on to our children would change. And as that changed, I can promise you, there won't be an elected official like Donald Trump ever in that position again. It's just a mirror of mass consciousness. The good news is you can change that anywhere, anytime. And you don't have to develop sitting for a half an hour a day or an hour a day to meditating with your eyes closed to do it. You don't. You can. Not saying that wouldn't be helpful. But you could take 30 seconds several times a day, take a few deep breaths and get your awareness on your hands. And then maybe like your head, the space between your ears, center of your head, or your heart, or your feet, or any part of your body. Well, that was weird. It just froze for a second. I think it's still recording. All right, we're at 10 minutes, so I want to wrap it up. the more you practice awareness, the less what Donald Trump will continue to do is going to bother you. Because I think we all know it's probably not going to change. And we could be stuck with him for a while, till the next election. Maybe not, who knows. But if you don't want to be so frustrated and bothered and embarrassed, you don't have to be. You don't have to be. And the same goes for your boss and your coworkers or your spouse, your kids, anyone who you struggle with, your in-laws, any other group. You don't have to be governed by that. And your mood doesn't have to be set by that. And your personality doesn't have to be changed by that. You can start sailing your own ship. And a lot of us are already, just in a greater and greater way. We can do this. We can change. The world can change. Awareness is going to foster love, like love with a capital L. Source, the universe, God, whatever. That sort of energy is going to come from a greater and greater inner awareness, and the world's going to change. And what a great kickstart to people doing this. Having the president that we have and having the kind of things going on that are going on right now that are kind of unbelievable, but not really. All right. Have a fantastic day. Namaste.